I love you guys. I made some choices, and you guys don't know anything about this, but I'm going to be gone for a while. Sorry.
Take your time.
Maybe dead shortly. So I just want to let you know I love you guys both, and I wish it had gone this way. I don't want to say anything more and implicate you in any way, because you guys don't know anything about this. I love you guys, and I'm sorry for all the trouble this has caused.
Manhunt is ongoing to catch Vance Boelter, the man who police say is a suspect in the shooting of 2 Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota on Saturday. Governor Tim Walz called it a politically motivated assassination. Here's what we know.
It was not a real police officer. This is somebody that clearly had been impersonating a police officer, again, using the trust of this badge and this uniform to manipulate their way into the home.
Authorities say the 57-year-old suspect impersonated a police officer when he killed Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband and wounded Minnesota State Senator John Hoffman and his wife.
When our officers confronted him, the individual immediately fired upon the officers, who exchanged gunfire, and the suspect retreated back into the home.
After the suspect fled, police say they found what appears to be a hit list with dozens of names in his car. Officials say the list included prominent lawmakers like Representative Ilhan Omar, Senator Tina Smith, and pro-abortion rights advocates. Flyers for anti-Trump protests were also said to be found. Boelter has worked as a director for a private armed security service, according to the company's webpage. The firm was registered to Boelter's home address and listed a woman who appears to be his wife as president and CEO. She did not respond to messages from CNN. Elsewhere, records show that Boelter served on a state board with Senator Hoffman, one of the victims who survived. In 2019, Governor Tim Walz put Boelter on the Governor's Workforce Development Board, a group of business owners who recommend policies to the state government.
I feel the presence of the Lord in this place.
Je sens la présence des dieux en ces lieux.
Could you pray with me, please?
According to video and social media posts reviewed by CNN, Boelter is an outspoken evangelical Christian who traveled to Africa and was critical of LGBTQ rights. Police say they are still investigating a motive for the attacks.
What's up, people? Thanks for tuning back into Crime Time Podcast. And man, this Minnesota lawmakers killed and some survived as Vance Boelter, 57 years old, is in custody. You saw in that clip there, the first clip was a friend of his that he lived with, David Carlson, in his pizza outfit. And I gotta wonder, man, you know how everything goes with all the political conspiracies and whatnot, with all the pizza representation. Have people been running with those theories already? I'm just curious, just throwing that out there. But man, what a crazy text to get from someone. And a lot of people are not buying that this guy didn't know anything. You know, he spoke with the press about dude's political discussions and stuff that they had, and that he was a Trump supporter, and how he felt about abortion and other things. You know, the whole ABC, LGBTQ plus, whatever. You know what I mean? I don't keep up on all the latest acronyms when it comes to all that. But, you know, I just got to say, when it comes to this, but do you guys think he knew more? He had some kind of idea or whatever? Like, people are really going in on this friend. And I don't know, is that fair? Have you ever had a situation where you were cool with someone, and I'm not saying they went out and straight assassinated somebody, but did some wildish, and then people are coming at you like, yo, that's your friend. You didn't know, or they try to associate you with that. You know, you got to watch the company you keep. And check it out. I'm always saying, too, in this current era we live in, the blogosphere era, I call it, you know, with social network and just the internet being what it is, and how it's, I don't want to say infiltrated, but almost in a way every aspect of our life, from shopping to communication to how we get information, just everything. It's really wild at the end of the day, man. And one thing that I've noticed, and it goes back as we were talking about how dude was a Trump supporter, and in no way am I trying to say that, oh, all Trump supporters are like this guy or whatever. So don't think that, you know what I mean? I'm when it comes to the political stuff, I pay attention to a degree, but I don't get caught up in it too much. You know, I wouldn't say, oh, I'm on this side of the political spectrum or that side. I don't identify with any of that. I just feel how I feel about certain policies and things like that. But in no way am I like, because that's what I'm getting at about this whole political climate in this blogosphere era, and it dates back to when Trump was first running for president, before he got in the first time around. It's like this stuff is on a whole nother level where it's just got insane, man. Families have stopped talking to other family members. Like, it's broken up families. People get caught up in the hype behind this stuff so much that we see here. I mean, that's not really a fair representation, as this guy obviously went out of his mind or just off the wall, going out and killing people, and other people survived, as he is charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted second-degree murder or whatever. But it's just wild. Like, don't get caught up in the hype behind that. You know what I mean? People have fights at workplace over it. I mean, you should never talk about politics or certain things, barroom rules. It's not the type of discussion. Friendships have been ended and stuff like that as well. But I just don't quite understand it, why people get caught up in it so much to this degree. It's really something, man. It's just too much. And then when it comes to the blogosphere, a lot of podcasters, internet influencers, media personalities who have kind of turned into YouTubers and such in a way, or they do it on the side, they play into this stuff so much because they know it's such a hot button issue, anything political related. If you just come out and have an over the top take on things and talk a little bit of shit, it's going to do crazy numbers. It's going to run it up in the blogosphere, and there's a lot of dollars that become behind a lot of those clicks. And you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, a lot of these people who are delivering these takes, they're not really as invested in it. I'm not saying all of them are front and are on some fugaziness, but best believe a lot of them just know it's like the cheat code. Hey, talk crazy about some political stuff, get revved up, raise your voice, come up with a catchy slogan or whatever, like Tampon Tim Walls. Have you heard that? I first heard it from Antonio Brown when he did his whole Trump thing, and it's pretty crazy too, y'all. He's wanted for murder. Last I saw, he was still on the lam, on the run. Not murder, I'm sorry. Is it attempted murder? Yeah, for an incident at that Aiden Ross boxing event in South Florida, man. It's crazy. I knew off top though. I'm not saying I knew for sure that was going to happen, but I was telling everyone that when they let him go, when he fired them shots, I was like, hey, I know Florida stands your ground, but he was chasing people after the altercation when he wasn't under any attack or anything like that anymore. You can't let off shots under those circumstances, and this might come back to bite him in the arse, and it indeed has. I'm not sure if he's been arrested or not, but everyone, just side conversation, share your thoughts on that as well as this case. But man, just, to kind of put a bow on everything that I was speaking of, don't get caught up in this political stuff where it's affecting your life, where you're getting in fights with people and arguments, and again, friends and family, relationships have been affected. That's just too much. But this case really reads like something out of a movie, and with saying that, I'm sure there will be definitely some movies, documentaries, all kinds of media coming on this case, as it was the largest manhunt in Minnesota state history. And I can't believe it, with this dude working private security. You saw in the one clip that he was, all about his preaching and being a Christian and everything like that, and going overseas to spread the word, and that he had been out of the country and just all that. It blew my mind that they caught him rape in Minnesota still. Like, I can't believe it. He went to the lengths of those fleet of cars that look like police cars, being that he was in the private security sector and everything, and putting on the fake police uniform, just having this manifesto that they found with like 70 plus names on it of other people in the Minnesota political spectrum that he wanted to go, body as well. It's just insane, man. It kind of reminds me in a way of the Luigi Mangione case. Obviously it's different. That guy was, like healthcare and health insurance and stuff like that. And, there's a lot of wrong that goes on with that, as well as political stuff. But you just, again, can't go over the top and start embodying people. It just, you can do what you want. We live in a country where we're free to pursue what makes us happy. But when what makes you happy is hurting other people and taking lives, you can't do that. That's fucking nuts. And at some point, this guy went a bit nuts and got too extreme about it all. But I just can't believe that. You did all that. You went through that length to put that plan together and shot it out with the police and everything after. And you're caught in the same state as he lived with this Carlson dude, right? Him and another dude. But Boelter's family lived on a farm in Green Isle, Minnesota, and he was caught in Green Isle, Minnesota. I don't know if he was at that farm, but just the aftermath of it all, what he did to try, the plan that he put together to do the evil that he did, as opposed to his escape plan, is just terrible. Like, he's looking crazy and kind of stupid if you really do the math and add it all up analysis wise. How crazy is it too that this guy was involved in the political world as well in Minnesota, being on a board with, was it Tim Walz or one of the individuals that he shot? And it almost reminds me of an Alex Jones. You know what I mean? How Alex Jones, people a long time ago were like, hey, this guy was in the political world before and pursued it heavily. And I think he's always put it out there like, I wanted to get up close and personal and see what's really going on over there, But I don't know. I think maybe he just partially found his shtick in it all. He lost a lot of credibility to me. And I think to a lot of people when they saw, not that the dude was ever Mr. Credibility, right? But when they saw him and it got out that in court, on the record, with all those lawsuits over the horrific things he said about those victims, family members and all that, and then he's in there admitting under oath that it was not true, but then he'll go online and say all this other stuff. It just makes him look like a foolish buffoon. Feel how you want to feel about that, but come on, man, when you're letting any stuff affect your life to this degree, where you're throwing your life away. You got family. We all have family members, loved ones, friends, and I don't know if this dude got caught up in the hype so much that he thought he was gonna start with Minnesota and take individuals out and take charge and lead the revolution or something like that. Who knows? I'm intrigued to see what come out as the court process plays out in this case. It should really be some wild things that will be uncovered, as well as his roommate that was crying in that video. You know what I mean? Like, did he know more? Did he have the chance to? It's probably hard for a lot of people to do if they have a close friend and they realize like, yo, they're about to do some fucked up stuff and hurt some people. I gotta call it in, and they just can't bring themselves to doing that. And they feel like it's betrayal. Listen, you can't let people get hurt. Hell, you don't want to snitch on them to law enforcement. 5150 their ass. Hey, listen, I'm scared. After trying to talk it out with the individual first, talk them down from that hill, that ledge that they're on. But at a certain point, man, you got to take charge and do something. Because if this dude had his way, a lot more people would be DEAD. Imagine if they wouldn't have been able to figure out his identity. I'm sure more people would have been unalived in this time period that the manhunt was taking place. That's all about it for now as far as what I got in regards to all this. Make sure to subscribe, hit the buttons for me, as this is a newer channel. You know, we're trying to get active over here and discuss these true crime cases and crime news and such with everyone out there. If you're new, you know what I mean? It's all about having that conversation with you guys about these cases and all these different incidents and news and just what it's like living in this world we live in this current blogosphere era and all that, you know. But for real, just take that with you guys. Don't get caught up in the hype with anything. Continue to live your life. You know what I mean? There's a saying often when they talk about people, it's kind of a wild comparison, but about people who party, drink, or do drugs or whatever. You'll often hear of people saying it gets to a point where they're not doing the drugs are doing them. There's a situation with a lot of people where they get caught up with something, and it's like it changes from, hey, they're living their life, but in their spare time or whatever, they keep up on something they're passionate about a certain politics or other things like that. But when it gets to the point that it's taking your life over, you're fully encapsulated in it all, where you're about to go out and try and take lives away and stuff, is a problem, you know. And on a smaller scale, you know what I mean, with whatever you got going on, don't let things take over your life where it's affecting your personal relationships with family, friends, etc. So look forward to talking to all you guys in the comments. Again, this case is just getting going. Largest Minnesota manhunt comes to a close. And again, he was right in the same state still. But then you think about it, I guess escape plan wasn't a big concern to him in a sense, because he still had 70 names or whatever, you know. But I'm surprised he didn't have a plan B if the heat does get on him, because his ass did not go far. But thank you for watching. Subscribe. This is Crime Time Podcast signing out. I will get with you guys on the next one. Peace.